Fertilizer can be a dirty business, and one agriculturalist in the country knows that all too well. He's making fertilizer with human urine. It may sound unappealing, but it is transforming the lives of both farmers and urban residents. Susan Mongeli has that story.
It's dawn in a small farming village just outside Ouagadougou. A farmer lifts a bucket of yellowish liquid, slowly pours it into a barrel left under the sun, walks away. What looks like waste is being stored. Over the next few days, that liquid will transform things no one thought possible. Barren soil will bloom, crops will surge. In growth, fertilizer costs will drop, and something deeply taboo becomes sacred to survival. This is not fiction under Ibrahim's leadership. Burkina Faso is exploring the radical idea of using human urine as fertilizer. It's messy, it's unusual, but it's working to feed people, to rebuild food security, to challenge what we believe about waste. How did this idea go from taboo to tool of national necessity? What are the risks, the rewards, and what does it tell us about what's possible when a country runs out of options? Stay with me, we'll get into the science, the politics, the culture, and a plot twist that nobody saw coming. Burkina Faso is facing a perfect storm: climate stress, soaring fertilizer prices, disrupted supply chains. Farmers who used to pay for imported fertilizers now watch prices spike with every global crisis. Meanwhile, soil exhaustion and erratic rain make harvests unpredictable. President Ibrahim finds himself at the helm during this collapse. Rising hunger, empty market shelves, farmers skipping planting because they can't afford inputs. The urgency is not academic, it's existential. So when his advisors floated unconventional ideas, waste as opportunity, he didn't dismiss them. He asked, what if we could locally produce fertilizer? What if waste from people's daily life could become the very thing that helps us eat? From that pressure cooker's heat, the idea of urine fertilizer emerges not as weird science, but as survival. And as we'll see, what starts as necessity turns into innovation. Next, we'll dig into how human urine can even be fertilizer, how the science works. Human urine is rich in key nutrients plants love: nitrogen N, phosphorus P, potassium K. These are the same ingredients in standard chemical fertilizers. Studies in Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou especially show that after storing urine for about 30 days under sunlight, many harmful bacteria drop to negligible levels. Here's what happens. Fresh urine from eco-toilets contains ammonia, nitrogen, dissolved solids, phosphorus, potassium. When stored properly sealed containers exposed to sun for a set period, these nutrients stabilize, pathogens decline. The result, a liquid fertilizer that's surprisingly effective. The catch: storage must be managed. Unstored urine has a fecal contamination risk. Heavy metals exist in trace amounts. Total dissolved solids TDS can be high, but after 30 days, many risks fall. Nature helps: heat, UV exposure, time. This scientific alchemy is one half of the story. But science alone doesn't change farming or policy. In the next section, we'll see how Burkina Faso's leadership, social norms, and culture responded to the idea and the friction they faced when turning taboo into tool. Transforming a radical idea into policy is hard. Burkina Faso had to organize several moving parts. First, constructing or upgrading eco-toilets, urine diversion systems so that urine could be separated at the source. This meant investment in infrastructure, often in peri-urban or rural areas. Toilets mix urine and feces. Redesign is needed. Second, collection and storage systems, where to store urine safely so it stays hygienic. They used jerry cans, barrels, tanks, all exposed to sun for 30 days. Storage sites had to be managed, monitored, procedures created. Third, distributing the fertilizer, how to get it from storage to fields. Training farmers in safe usage, dilution amounts, application methods, often mixing with soil, avoiding contact with edible parts, monitoring yields and safety. Fourth, policy backing. The government needed regulations or guidelines: how long to store urine, how to treat it if contaminated, how to support farmers deploying it, how to avoid environmental harm. Also funding, subsidizing the infrastructure, perhaps providing containers, training, oversight. In this phase, many lessons emerged. What storage works best in hot vs dry seasons. How rainfall affects the dilution or spread. How to keep pathogens at bay. These lessons shaped national action plans. And yet, scaling across the country put new challenges. Logistics, costs, acceptance. Up next, data and results. What kind of yield, cost savings, impacts have come so far? When the rubber hits the road, what actually changes? In trials around Ouagadougou, crops fertilized with stored urine showed strong growth almost equal to those with chemical fertilizer. Vegetables like lettuce, cabbage, carrots colors deeper, leaves bigger, harvests earlier. Gardens that had been underperforming regained vigor. Farmers reported less input cost because commercial fertilizer prices had skyrocketed. Using urine fertilizer reduced dependency on imports. Moreover, communities saw broader benefits. More food on tables, less pressure to buy or go without. Some women who couldn't afford fertilizer began using stored urine to support small kitchen gardens, feeding families. Soil quality improved over repeated seasons in many patches, especially where organic matter was added to. Economically, the savings matter. Chemical fertilizer per hectare can be prohibitively expensive, sometimes beyond what smallholders can afford. Urine fertilizer costs mainly time, labor, minimal materials, storage containers. May cost something, but in many cases reuse of local materials was viable. For many farmers, break-even was fast. Still, not everything is perfect. Some crops are more sensitive. Overuse can cause excess salts. During rains, dilution is harder. If storage is done wrong, risks spike, but the upside has proven strong enough that scaling seems justified. But in scaling, another challenge looms large: environmental and health safety. That brings us to the next section. Anytime you handle human waste, there are dangers. Some are known. Others surprises. Pathogens, bacteria, viruses, protozoa. If the urine is contaminated, say by fecal matter, storage must kill them off. The 30-day sunlight exposure method works for many bacteria in Burkina Faso, according to studies. But not all pathogens have been fully tested. Micropollutants, pharmaceuticals people take, heavy metals, hormone residues, they can end up in urine. Trace amounts exist. Most studies show they're below dangerous thresholds, but accumulation. Over time? Long-term soil health? Unknown. Environmental effects. High total dissolved solids (TDS) can lead to salt buildup. Over-application or storage leakage could contaminate groundwater. Improper application could burn young plants or cause worse outcomes than doing nothing. Cultural resistance remains. People fear odor, safety, taste. If someone across the street hears about using pee, stigma can reassert itself. There is also equity. Who benefits? Who takes the labor burden of collection and storage? What about women, who often handle these chores, but may not get the profits or recognition? Politically, there's risk too. If things go wrong, disease outbreak, crop failures, scandals, the backlash could ruin trust in all sustainable agriculture or in administration. Yet, ethical arguments push back. When people are starving, paying for imported chemicals they can't afford, maybe those risks are worth taking if carefully managed. The rest of this story is about how Burkina Faso navigates those trade-offs. Up next, what's being done to ensure safety, oversight, future innovation. What started as crisis response is now turning into experimentation for what's next. Researchers are looking at refining storage methods using solar heat more efficiently, mixing with organic waste to buffer TDS, using local materials for better containers. Some trials test partial urine reuse in compost systems, combining urine with manure or crop residues to build soil health. Policy innovations are being brainstormed. Maybe local cooperatives run urine fertilizer production points. Maybe there's certification so users trust safety. Maybe royalties or micro-businesses emerge around distribution. Another unexpected twist: the idea is spreading beyond food crops. Some farmers want to try it in reforestation, tree planting, soil reclamation. In parched lands, even small inputs matter. Human urine, once cleaned and safely stored, may become a tool in desertification defense. In short, what began as desperation is pushing boundaries of what agricultural innovation looks like in resource-poor settings. But before we wrap up, let's see what the larger meaning is. The story Burkina Faso offers to the world, in the soil of Burkina Faso, there is something deeply hopeful, that a country pushed to its limits can look inside itself, not outside, and find resources hiding in plain sight. Ibrahim has pushed to turn human urine from shame into fertilizer. Isn't just about farming it, it's about rethinking what waste means, what value means, what survival demands. It's about pushing boundaries of science, culture, policy, and ethics, all at once. There are dangers, yes, but there are also transformations, diets richer, dependence lessened, innovation born of necessity. The full potential isn't yet realized, but the pathway is clear. With careful stewardship, transparency, and respect for people's dignity, what was once unthinkable becomes possible. What began as yellow liquid in a barrel might become seeds in the ground, feeding hungry mouths, rebuilding land, and reminding us, sometimes the solutions to our biggest problems are hiding in what we throw away.